The Queen of England, Princess, excuse me, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II is now dead. I'm thinking about the future of the monarchy in today's show, and if you're watching this in the future, welcome. If you're watching it way past the time where Queen Elizabeth II has taken her last breath, I wanted to do this show to highlight how so many different people feel different ways about what the passing of Queen Elizabeth II means. So if you're watching in 2029, if you're watching in 20, let's say 83, if you're watching in the year or in the millennia 3000 and beyond, I'm Suzette Speaks. Nice to see you. We are recording this about 72 hours, give or take, after the announcement of the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And we are asking ourselves today if the monarchy will survive. And we're going to take this time to do a little bit of prognosticating because we who are a part of the world as it stands right now know of an existence of something called the Commonwealth of Countries. We know that there are several countries that still have Queen Elizabeth as the head of state in our world today. We are also very aware of the troubled past of the monarchy. When we are contemplating her passing today, there's mixed feelings, especially among those of us who are a part of the Black diaspora across this world, across this globe. We know that there's a difference in between mourning a person, the individual, and speaking up about an institution. So in this show, I'm going to try to make that distinction between Queen Elizabeth, the person, and Queen Elizabeth, a representative of the firm, the system, the institution that has had some very, very ill effects on countries like the one my parents are from. My parents were born subjects of the crown. They grew up singing God Save the Queen. They knew that as subjects of the United Kingdom's sovereign, there were roles and duties that this lady had that was so impactful yet so mysterious upon their lives. Fast forward how many years after independence? Almost 60. I'm speaking of Jamaica. There is now a feeling that maybe they would rather, and I consider myself an American of Jamaican descent, so the Jamaican people will speak up for themselves today. Maybe they would rather not have a monarch as their head of state. Maybe they would rather to separate themselves, their government, fully from the so-called Commonwealth. I've been thinking a lot about this concept called the Commonwealth and how it has been this wonderful, wonderful rebranding of what was empire building and colonization for many years. I think about some of the changes that have occurred over the last 70 years under the reign of Queen Elizabeth, and I think about how paradoxical some of the vision for the royal family is. Is it representing those of us who want to see a new England, a more diverse England, a new Commonwealth, a more diverse and accepted Commonwealth? Or are we stuck with this relic of the past that only gives a chosen few an opportunity to flourish and to uh, spend the spoils of imperialism? We're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about Her Majesty. We're going to think about what her passing has meant. If you're just joining us, come on in. I'm Suzette Speaks, and I'm going to ask everyone to drop in this wonderful discussion we're going to have today. Drop a comment. Let me know you're watching as we look at the front pages of the newspapers over the last 2 to 3 days. Her Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II, has passed on. 1926 is when she was born. 2022 is when she has seen her last breath. Again, I will separate the person from the office for a moment because there's so much about her, the person, I do admire. As a person, I do think she represented and held my goodness, a very, very difficult position for almost her entire life of public service. I do admire that about her. I admire that she, as a working mom, as they say, tried her best to rear a good family, tried her best to put duty above all, but at the same time maintain a family life, is something that is even difficult now. I can't even imagine doing it in the fishbowl in front of the world 24/7. So for the grace and the dignity and the class that she displayed, I've always been an admirer of Queen Elizabeth. But there was not too long ago, when I think about the passing of Princess Diana, when I think about the handling of Meghan Markle, when I think about the complexities by which countries who were once prosperous on their own prior to slavery, prior to colonialization, prior to colonization and imperialism, who now have become dependent. I was reading some of the Black Twitter comments about her passing, and I'm going to put them forward today because not everything has been rosy. Again, I feel like we respect the dead, but I think I'm going to offer an ability today to also look at what the monarchy means and whether or not we still need it, and or will it survive. Now, looking ahead, if you're watching this in the future, salute to you. You already know if the monarchy is going to survive or not. Us in 2022, we're just looking at what example, what privilege. Have you guys been reading about what exactly and how exactly the monarchy lives? I was reading last night in preparation for today's show. Hit the like button as you come in. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Put your city, put your country, right? Put your state. Let me know where you're watching from. As I opened the conversation, I was reading a lot yesterday about the passing of the duchy. Now, Jamaicans will know there was a song called Pass the Duchy, Bunny Left Answer. Y'all remember that Pass the Duchy? Well, the duchy has passed. The Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. These are lands, titles, companies held by heirs to the crown. The Duchy of Cornwall has just passed to now the Duke of Wales, Prince William. The Queen herself was valued at $500 million upon her death. Who gets that? Duchy of Lancaster. Oh my gosh, they use such beautiful legalese and language to describe the sovereign state and the privy purse and the money that basically goes to maintain the royal family since 1337. And how this, you like to pass the duchy? Thank you, Doug. I was like, Pass the Duchy was actually a political song. We didn't know. Did you know that the Duchy of Cornwall passed to Prince William? Did you know the Duchy of Lancaster? Look it up. Duchy, Duchy of Lancaster. And all, not the capital, not the lands, the tens of thousands of acres that are owned by the royal family in perpetuity. The revenues from those lands, not even taxed under British law, they have voluntarily paid tax to the crown, to themselves. But I look at it and I'm learning so much more about the lasting effect of colonialism. But we're talking about Queen of England, this lady here, who has taken again her last breath. No, you guys, I have looked since I've been reading about what has happened since the passing. The way they talk about Pass the Duchy, and when I hear that song now, it means something totally different in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh. This was a political statement, this song. Because thousands and millions worth of revenue, thousands of acres and millions worth of revenue from those companies owned by the duchy is revenues that supports the charities of the heir to the throne and to the king. But they also support the individuals in the family. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I cannot wait. You know, I've never visited England before. That's on my bucket list. I want to really visit now because of all the history I'm kind of reading. Did you guys grow up saying God save the Queen? If you were a member of the Commonwealth, if your country is a member of the Commonwealth, let me know, drop a comment. As I stated, my parents grew up singing that song. Now it's God save the king. Thinking of the imperial power as superior to you was normal, very normal. And I wonder if there's two, very confusing feelings going on within myself. And I'm wondering if other people are feeling that. The beauty of Her Majesty in terms of her life lived, and then the look back at why there are so many people that died and suffered at the hands of the same monarch. Not her specifically, because she does not make any political decisions. She's just a symbol of holding the space of. So again, we're trying to distinguish today between Queen Elizabeth II, the individual, and the monarchy itself. But there was mixed reviews and mixed reactions today, especially among the diaspora of color. I can add to that Irish Twitter. Shout out to Irish Twitter. Some of the commentary there has been like hilariously ironic because it's been very similar to what we've seen a lot of, and that is poking at the truth behind what the monarchy really, really has done over the last, say, 200 years, in recent memory, tearing apart countries in Africa. I'm talking about literally putting people in concentration camps. So we don't want to talk about it today. Kenya, where are you? You want to talk about it today, or we're going to stay only on Elizabeth the person? There's so many parts of this that have elicited feelings within me. A sadness for her. I've cried. I've shed a tear, in full disclosure. I'm like, goodness gracious. 96, Lord bless her. She wasn't a person who chose this role. It was hoisted upon her. The abdication of the throne by her uncle. Marrying Wallace Simpson. Read about Wallace Simpson's life, you guys. I was like, man, some women got it. Some women know how to play this game, bro. Wow. Just read about Wallace Simpson. And then the crown passing to her father. And not even too long was she married. Like it was like 5 years later, she had to take the throne. So thinking about it from the perspective of a woman who literally had no choice, you would say God gave her this role and had to dedicate her entire life to her country. And by design as a constitutional monarchy, fulfilling a role that only some would be able to do with such class and dignity and graciousness, even when her family was falling apart. Think about it. The scandal years of Charles. Y'all remember, I'm going to bring it up. Y'all don't want to bring it up? It's too soon? The scandal years. Diana. Camilla. Did Camilla win, you guys? I'm so sorry. There are many people who have commented online. Did Camilla win? Did the side chick win? I'm sorry. The queen consort. That's your queen now. The queen consort. We're going to get to Camilla in a second. I have something for everybody today because I'm very emotional thinking about this. Again, a culture that has bred me through my parents who grew up as subjects of the crown prior to 1962's independence, but still a member of the Commonwealth, therefore Jamaica, holding the queen as their head of state. So very interesting. I said, Lord, did we get the biggest bait and switch? This term, the Commonwealth. Is the wealth common? It's the best rebranding I've ever heard of in my life. The Commonwealth. I have so much to say about it. But we'll start with the dearest queen. She has led an impeccably, what should I say, extraordinary life. Thank you, Corrine, saying it's complicated, but someone just died. Thank you. So R.I.P. People have to understand that part. I understand that the monarchy is not all good. However, she died. So Corrine wants us to focus on the person. I understand that, Corrine, and thank you for your gift and your super chat. So Corrine said, before we get to the issue of the monarch, let's first respect the dead. I understand that, Corrine. I understand that. But there's so many broad, and thank you for your feeling, my dear. Appreciate you. There's so much broad feeling about this topic. And I want to ask you guys today, how do you feel about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II? Was it a very, very sad moment for you? Were you torn? Were the feelings complex? I suspect by what I've seen on Twitter, what I've seen on Instagram, what I've seen online in general, hit the like button as you come in, please, that there are many folks who are sad because of her passing, yes, but are also contemplating the future of the monarchy. Is the monarchy ready? Are you ready for King Charles? Are you ready for this? Do you think the monarchy will survive? Was she the glue holding the past and the present together? As a woman who had this, what they say, heavy crown. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown. As a woman who has had this heavy crown almost her entire life, let's talk about her legacy, yes. Let's talk about the future of the monarchy. Do you believe the monarchy will survive? In its current form? In a new form? Will the Commonwealth of Nations decide? I mean, there's been rumblings. Thank you, Sunbreeze. The huge donation. 10101 on the super chat this beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you so very much. West Coast in the building. Sunbreeze, no comment. No question, just love. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Thank you so much. Appreciate that generosity. My goodness. Always supporting this channel. I appreciate you. When we look at this, what should I say, structure, global structure of the Commonwealth, when I looked at all the different realms still held by the United Kingdom, whose government is administered by the United Kingdom, when I look up all the people whose influence, whose lives, the products they use on a day-to-day basis, their style of government have been influenced by the monarchy itself and British imperialism. When I think about some of the hardships that many have faced, you take a country over, you destabilize it, you remove its means from making its own money, and then you put the people back to work again for you. Y'all don't want to talk about it today. Is it too early? Tell me. There is the passion that I have to discuss things that are more uncomfortable than most, while also saying thank you. There has been a public servant that has passed. 100% understand that there are so many parts of her life that should be celebrated. But there are questions that we must ask ourselves. There are people who have asked, are we celebrating something that is the ruin of many countries around the world? The institution, that is, not the person, the institution now. Are we too hard, some may feel, on the institution considering the passing of a beloved queen? That may be your opinion as well. I would love for you to leave it in the chat. Come on in. Suzette Speaks today, cooking early. It's a beautiful day, thinking about the lasting legacy of Queen Elizabeth II. There is so much, again, about her, the individual, that I admire dearly. As a family woman, as a leader, as a woman who came into leadership in a time where women weren't really accepted in certain circles. That was huge for me. Her poise under pressure, her ability to navigate in almost any circle, her commitment to what she felt was her God calling. I admire so many things about Queen Elizabeth, the individual. Now, for the firm, as it's called, the monarchy itself, that may be another story, and that may be some of what you're seeing online. As some people have called it, the woke attack on Queen Elizabeth and the monarchy. I beg to differ. I know that there are going to be opinions today that I may disagree with, and they're welcome here. I like to talk about, news and things that are making headlines, because I do think it will impact our lives going forward. But before we get into some of the more heavy issues, let's think about who comes next. Who got next? Are you guys ready to talk about that? Are you one of those people, as they said on the news, that wish that Charles got skipped? King Charles? And wanted to go straight to William and Kate? They say his numbers are not that high when it comes to popularity, and we know the royals, or many of us who have been watching the royals recently, understand now. Popularity and what the people think. Trust me, this can be taken from them. You know that. Are you a royalist? Are you a queenist? I'm here to stimulate the discussion today. I want to welcome you watching online. I see I have a lot of folks watching, whether you're on our sister stream, Jamaicas.com, where we simulcast on Saturdays. I want to welcome everybody watching there on Facebook. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you're a team replay, why don't you just like and hit me a heart for me? Hit the subscribe for me and let me know in the chat. That's what it's about today. Talk back to me, speakers. The members of my community online here on YouTube are called speakers. Suzette Speaks Speakers. And I appreciate them very much. Sunbree, shout out to you again. Because no matter where you are around the world, I know you're a thoughtful person and we're reflective today. So we hold the queen as the individual. Again, at her death, we hold it in reverence for her, a person passing on to God. 100%. And we're going to also, I don't know if you're ready, to look a little deeper at whether the monarchy served a purpose here in modern times, whether you feel that there maybe even the queen kind of helped to sugarcoat in this past century a lot of the damage that was done by imperialism and colonialization and slavery. Should reparations be paid? That's a whole, I don't think we're going to go there today unless you guys want to. But there's a whole institution. Yes, that the queen, the individual, may have not had the ability to control, but indeed was a part of. Her life and legacy lives on through this gentleman. There's your queen now. The one now, King Charles III. And the queen consort. The queen consort, Camilla, sits on the throne. Sits on the throne. Y'all ready for Camilla as your queen? Your queen consort. Long live the queen. But the future seems to be bright in some eyes. Others believe not so bright. Popularity dips, especially, and I'm going to go back a little bit just to remember my favorite royal, the late Princess Diana of Wales. As of today, the Princess of Wales, that title has been given to Princess Kate. She's the first person and only person since Princess Diana to now hold that title, Princess of Wales. Do you know what it means, though? Do you know what that duchy is? Y'all pass the duchy for real. Read about what the Duchy of Cornwall and what the Duchy of Lancaster are providing the royal family financially. Lands, not crown state lands. They're different, separate. And this is what they live off of. This is how the queen was worth $500 million at her death. Who gets that money? And there's probably is a discussion going on. Like I said, there is a lot that will change. The money will change. Passports were issued by the queen, like just systematically. It's amazing how much impact. Again, Britain is like, I don't want to say, and again, for those of my English viewers watching, chime in for me, please. Is the monarchy like the biggest tie to English culture? But long live the queen. The queen consort Camilla. Many remember the scandalous years with her and Charles. I'm going to read some of your comments. Sunbree, shout out to you sponsoring today's stream. Let me see who's in the chat. Well, lots to unpack here, lots to discuss. Will the monarchy survive? I'm Suzette Speaks. Welcome to my channel. Saturdays around 12-ish. I like to bring you interesting topics just to chit-chat, contemplate life, right? Society and things going on. But today, we're dedicating today's show to the passing of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Whether you're a fan, like I said, you might not be a royalist, you might be a queenist. I'm trying to define these terms here. And the way you feel, again, for me, I can't speak for everyone, was very torn. I cried. I shed a tear. I was like, man. But as I started to watch more and more of the reports Thursday, first they said she was ill in that morning. And I said to my mother, I said, Mommy, if they had to announce that she was under strict medical provision, something ain't right. Something's not right. And just, let's say, 6 hours or so later, they pronounced her death at Balmoral Castle. People were rushing to our side. You even saw, Prince William drive up with his uncle and auntie. And Prince Harry had just, I wouldn't say missed it, but he got there just a little bit after the announcement. Tried to fly in and make it. Sadness for a family mourning, absolutely. Empathy for a family mourning, absolutely. And then there's that part that we've watched them grow up, right? By virtue of the royal family being the most photographed family, Queen Elizabeth the late, great, you would say. I think she deserves that. Has been photographed more than any other person alive, now passed. An extraordinary woman indeed. Not taking that from her. An extraordinary woman indeed. But I ask you the question today, how did you feel? What was your reaction to the passing of Queen Elizabeth II? Was it something that made you cry? Did you think to yourself, oh my goodness, maybe there's another, way we can stop this monarchy? I don't know. I'm going to ask you, will the monarchy survive? So much to chat about. Let me get in these comments. I keep saying that. Welcome for those of you who are just joining. I see my folks in the stream. Yes, feeling great. Nice to see you, RM. R Payne, Doug in the building. Oh, goodness. R Payne says, I despise everything the monarchy stood for. It pains me to see a Black person worship any of these people as if their poop don't stink. Okay. Sidani, nice to have you, says, I started making serious connections when I visited England. Oh my. Yeah, look up the Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster. Just look at how much money is made annually from lands that are owned by the crown and that support the royal family. There's so much to be said here. But here is the new queen. So much to think about here. You gotta give a moment. So we were thinking about the fallout, the future. We know that there's so many people that have mixed feelings. Thinking about Meghan and Harry, how do you think they're feeling? Very interesting time. Sylvia says the original expression as used by the Mighty Diamonds is pasta kochi, was it? Which I think was a ganja pie. Yes, absolutely. Musical Youth got it wrong. Did they? Or were they saying something else with their politics? I don't know. So there's so much. I got to get to so many of these comments. Let me skip down. William and Kate, for real, the first son. Ebony, nice to have you, says, I don't care one way or another who comes next. Charles, then William first. So, yeah, first son. Yes. The new succession is now in play. Let's see. Doug, how are you? Says the monarchy will still have influence as they're heavily involved in many NGOs. I feel you. Ebony says, what did she do when South Africa was going through apartheid and when the prime minister called Mandela a terrorist? Hello, Reese. Nice to have you. Hit the like button, says Sunbreeze. So the crown went to Charles, but different titles, Doug. I'm sorry if I misspoke. Different titles go to different members of the royal family now. And as we are live here right now, the Duchess and Duke of Sussex, who we see, Prince Harry, they've moved up, or Prince Harry is now, I think they said, 5th in line. And his son, Archie, is technically 6th in line. So there's so many people that have been affected by this. I'm sure he was devastated and she was devastated. But whether you grew up saying this, God save the queen, whether you don't have an opinion at all, whether you're a monarchist, whether you're a queenist, whether you feel as if there is somebody, that needs to pay for the savagery of imperialism. There's so many people that I've watched and just been thinking about seeing this horrific story about death, yes, in one lens, the sadness that it brought me. And then looking at a whole nother way, thinking to myself, wow, what is the monarchy? What purpose has it served? Where do I truly stand on it? Can I celebrate her as a person and still not be feeling the monarchy? Is there a role for the monarchy in modern Britain and to the world? Is this woman now able to carry on the mantle? I don't know. I have so many questions for you guys. Let me read some more of the chat before I open it up. Let's see what you guys say. OG Patrice, nice to see you. And then there's Corrine. Listen, Corrine gonna make us remember, says Charles always loved Camilla, not Diana. Do you guys remember this? I'm gonna get into the Princess Diana because that's my royal. That's my favorite of all. The people's princess. Not taking anything away from the very great tragedy that a country is experiencing, and my condolences to all of those who mourn the late Queen Elizabeth II. But to think about some of the ups and downs, her life really kind of triggered the loss of her life, triggered the remembrance of so many of the ups and downs of the royal family over the last 50 years. And I thought about what it meant to me. Why am I paying attention to these folks? Why do I care? Well, historically, I've been looking at it from, okay, my parents grew up with this. This is my Britishness. This is a part of me, even in the American context as the Jamaican immigrant, but even the American context. The American culture has its roots in British culture too. When we look at the roots of this country, the 13 colonies, etc. And who moved to Florida? Who moved to Georgia? We're from different parts of England when the colonial period was in progress. So I think very deeply about these issues. Why do I care who the next British monarch is? Why should I? I think about why should they be celebrated? Why is their family name more important than mine? Seriously speaking, kind of in jest too, but why? Why does their family get to be maintained by millions and millions of assets that were stolen? Why will they not acknowledge the pillaging, rape, murder that took place across the world in the name of empire? Is it wrong to bring that up too? All right, y'all, here we go. How do you feel? It's today's topic about the passing of the late queen. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to ask those, especially if you guys live in the Commonwealth. I really want to hear what you have to say. If you're in a Commonwealth country, I really want to hear what you have to say. You're going to click this link and let me know. Are you one that is a queenist? You respect her, Her Majesty Elizabeth II? Are you a person that is a royalist? You think the institution is good for the country. It is a part of the fabric, the history, the government written into law. The head of the Church of England is now King Charles III, right? He has ceremonial duties. Before she died, still very much committed to duty, right? She welcomed in the new Prime Minister, Miss Truss, right to 2 days before she passed. Always thinking about duty above all. I admire that very much about the late Queen Elizabeth. But will the monarchy as it is now survive? As we remember an extraordinary life, I think it's okay to ask both. Some people may not be ready. I get it. Maybe not ready to move in that direction. The pictures are extraordinary. The 15 prime ministers, the 14 US presidents that she's lived through. First being Mr. Churchill, born, I think it was 1874, her first prime minister. And then Liz Truss, born 1974, right? The bridge between the imperial days, the old days, and the modern times. It was difficult. Any family living in front of the cameras would find this difficult, right? Being queen, being in the fishbowl, figuring out life in front of a camera, having to appear to be perfect at every turn, but yet you're still human. It's difficult. And she navigated that very well at a very young age, 25 when she took the crown. Honoring that. Asking everyone around the world today watching and those in the future watching made me think today, wow, they're going to know if you're watching this in 2073, what happens to the monarchy. They're already going to know this. Did it survive? Will it survive? But right now we just have conjecture. We're going to ask ourselves, will the monarchy survive the passing? Are you ready for the new set of royals? Are you excited about the new set of royals? I'm going to drop the link for, again, Commonwealth country. If you live in England, I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to drop this link now. It's Join the Conversation is the title of it. Again, you can press on it. Commonwealth, if you're in Jamaica, if you're around the world. There are many countries that are now stepping up to or have made very, very clear or their outward intentions, Jamaica being one, that they might not want to stay in the Commonwealth of countries. Belize has spoken up. Australia may have a referendum. They had a referendum 20 years ago about leaving at that time. But again, everybody loved the Queen. Now that she's gone, will Charles have what it takes? And again, there is much being said about imperialism in general. Let's get the likes up as you come in, please. Ebony says she lived a very long life of privilege and never had to work. That's why they say working mom, but in Ebony's opinion, never had to work a day in her life. She's like everybody else's grandmother who got old, sick, and passed. Ebony's opinion. Thank you. Leah Safari. Safari. I want to say Rastafari, but Safari says, run the dollars, King Charles. If you want to be king, we want to see, the only machine print money. Free up the family all over. So not only, that's what I'm saying, this thing makes one certain group of people rich and richer and richer and maintain the status quo of this specific family. And I was reading because I was like, how did they get the Duchy of Cornwall? How did they get the Duchy of Lancaster? And when certain people up north literally crossed their border, Scotland and England are on the same island. So when one took over, another king fell or another ally fell who fought. And I was reading about the Jacobite rebellion and uprising and just the different times in which, to me, I was like, this was one family. This is one island. Anglo-Saxons, Celts, and different ethnicities, so to speak. Looking as an outsider who, comes from the different part of the world, you're like, but aren't y'all brothers? But one lost this castle because they went against the King of England, and then they retook the castles. This is from really, you say, in the last 500 years, taking, retaking, and fighting for lands. And the victor gets the spoils. It's just very interesting to see. How did we end up here? And is it good for the people of England? Or everyone else in England, unless you grew up in a aristocratic family, like, goodness gracious, you're kind of out of the, they don't have the money printing machine, Leah Safari. They don't have it. Hi. Ebony says, carry on the mantle to do what? All they do is wave. This is the biggest welfare family in the world. Whoa, hard. Kareen disagrees. I heard you, Ebony X, but I feel bad when my friend's grannies pass away. This lady has always been a part of the conversation, so we feel away. So you're feeling touched by it. I get it. It's well documented that she quietly tried to challenge the apartheid, and that's when Mandela respected her. Okay. Good day, Quincy. Welcome. Nice to have you. I've dropped the link, Commonwealth. Let me know how you feel if you're watching from around the world. Quincy said, nope, not Babylon. What is your opinion of the royal family? That's today's discussion. Will the monarchy survive? Yes. But that's so many European American ancestors I respect. Yes, but that's so many European ancestors I respect that you do not care. Worries my culture is tied with this because I'm Jamaican and have family. Okay, so this is the actual global tie. Many people feel this way. Asuncion, or is that, I think it's called Ascension Island. Excuse me. When I think about Pitcairn and Bermuda, British VI, and much more than the territories, the Commonwealth. We are tied culturally on purpose, right? That's what the Commonwealth built, right? A political system of allyship, friendship. So we do have these deep cultural ties. Let's acknowledge that 100%. But is the monarchy our family too? Is that how What up, TBE Trucking? Nice to have you. Hey, Miss Globe Girl. Thanks for joining the conversation. I wonder what the world would be like today if England had not been an imperialist and acquired territory over the centuries. My God, by bloodshed, by war, by concentration camp, by rape, by murder. How would the world look if there was never slavery and imperialism? My God. Sandy W, big up yourself, says, I don't care one way or another, but I do ask, what has the Queen done personally for you? Not counting your family. Her family history is atrocious. Listen, now I've got to rag on some of my American friends. I'm going to put up a lot of what Black Twitter had to say about the Queen, because when I look at Black Twitter, this is y'all so funny. Y'all saw comments like this? For real, for real. I told my mama the Queen died, and she said, "You talking about Latifah?" Not Latifah, girl. Not Latifah. There is a funny meme. I just posted it on my Instagram stories. If you're not on my Instagram, please follow me on my Instagram. Trust and believe. There's a girl like saying how millennials. Let me see if I can play a little bit of it. But this was some people making fun of it. Again, some of you might say too soon. What's going on? The world is too crazy. But there's been a double-edged reaction to this. A double-edged reaction. Not just an outpouring of love. Yes, I've seen that. Empathy for the family, those who survive. I actually do feel sorry for King Charles in terms of his mourning. Absolutely. His dedication to, like, I got to show you some of the memes. A man in waiting for a job for 73 years? Welcome to the royalty. But yet and still, always kind of playing second fiddle to Diana. I'm gonna remember my princess. Y'all don't be mad with me because I'm gonna remember my princess. This was my princess, the people's princess. Y'all remember her? Gone too soon. But almost was outshining her husband. Y'all remember? Y'all don't remember this. Every move she made, everything she wore. Was it too much for the firm? Was it too much for the monarchy, for her to literally be more popular than any of them? Pretty like gold, heart pretty and clean. Remember when Diana was there? Excuse my Jamaican brogue. When Diana was there, she was the first one to show emotion and laugh and touch people, kiss up brown people, touch kids with diseases, kids who had AIDS. Right? Remember us down here? Remember? My goodness. Want to remember Diana? I'll go ahead and talk about her a little bit. Just to give me a moment. Give me a moment for my princess. Charles did her bad, bro. But y'all say it's okay. Charles didn't love her to begin with. It was pressure on Charles that allowed him to marry a woman that he wasn't truly in love with. Fit the bill. Innocent. This is my other thing. When I was researching, guys, I was interested that Charles had actually dated Diana's sister before he dated her. Now, I think there was some time between it, but I was kind of like, really, bro? This has got an interesting twist to it. So yeah, we have a lot of different parts of this. Ebony adds, I'm a born Jamaican that also have a grandmother that lived and died in the UK. All of us, if we have any kind of Commonwealth ties, we definitely have family. My first set of this would have been my mom's first cousins. They migrated to England. That was the first set. Several of them. I'm thinking probably between 1920s and it's like my grandpa's big brothers. And like 1960, the first set went there. Now we were unusual. We had also a set of my grandpa's older nephews. These are people that would actually be older than him, but were his nephews. His biggest brother's children migrated to California. So we had people here in the States in the 20s, which is very unusual, depending on your family, because most people chose England. Yeah, there's some tie there. There's a lot of tie, right? There's a lot of tie. I'm born Jamaican, that a grandmother lived in the UK since the 1960s, and an uncle that was born there, and now my baby sister lives there, and numerous other family members. So you're saying, yes, I got a tie. I got a tie. Doug says, I'm with Sandy. What did she do for your life? So, okay, so Sandy's saying, just to be clear, I do have familiar roots to the UK, so I'm not thinking it's funny, just being a realist. Okay, respect your opinion, sis. Drop your comments. Drop your comments. Remembering so many parts of the royal story, the saga. Remembering that beautiful soul that also passed tragically. For me, I was touched by when Princess Diana died. I was sad. I was a young girl. I was sad. I felt a remarkable connection to her. I don't know. Do you guys feel more of a connection to Queen Elizabeth II? Do you guys remember the connection to Diana? I cried. I thought it was the saddest thing, and I really thought it was conspiratorial. I thought they killed Diana. Lord, the people's princess was too loved. Talking about the queen today, but I have to take it back because it's where my heart is. Parts of me are torn. I'm like, where am I with the royals? Where am I with the royal family? How do I feel about it truly? Is there a person there that I feel I relate to? Or that has an impact on my life that I should really care? Why do I care? If I could say that for true, it would be about Princess Diana. Her movement was just different. I don't know that I could say the same thing about the Queen, the way I felt connected to Princess Diana. Her spirit, the way she loved her boys, her gracefulness, beauty without even trying. But we have a king now. Are you guys ready? This was him in his walkabout just after finding out about his mom being at, I should say, at Balmoral with his mom at the ancestral home of the Queen where she passed. This is when he returned finally now, officially now today as king, but was technically kind of king as we would know it, as a mother passing, the Queen passing would have opened that door. Not officially coronated, just made today king officially, I think by an act of the government. But wondering, y'all think Charles is ready? King Charles III. Is he ready? Is he representative of a modern Britain? Is he a person that you're cheering for? Do you support him in his journey now, taking over the mantle of the monarchy? Is it a person that you admire? Or do you think Queen Elizabeth left too big of shoes for him to fill. People liked her persona, right? The grandmother of the nation, right? The prim, the proper, the loving, and the laughing, seeming very relatable at times. Was it only her? Was it she who had the magic sauce to keep the people interested and engaged and supportive of the monarchy? Or is it something where, no, we're ready for Charles. We knew this day would come. Or are you some of the few who wish there was a skip ahead? This is what I was reading online, guys, not my opinion. People were like, oh no, we thought, I don't know why that would actually happen in real life, but we would skip ahead from Charles and go straight to William and Kate. Are we going to see a return of Harry and Meghan to a more visible role? They're actually on a walkabout right now, shaking hands, the brothers together. Asking you how you feel, guys. Chime in, drop a comment, let me know where you're watching from. It's a beautiful day. I'm here talking monarchy, talking the past, the present, and the future. How do you actually feel? I'm going to actually now, trigger warning, let people know. For those of us who've had kind of like a dual reaction, deep sadness at the death of an individual as a person, respect for long service, respect for holding a family together through ups and downs and tumult. But then there's also a deep reckoning that's happening all over the internet where people are asking, will the monarchy survive? And how should the monarchy really be characterized? It seems like this glowing family of, high aspirational dreams, keeping people, held to account, supporting, so to say surviving, but supporting charity work and helping the greater good, service to all mankind, the greater good. Is it truly what the monarchy is now? Because many have thought about the royal family very differently for some time. And I think especially in the wake of a more conscious world, post Black Lives Matter, post the pandemic summer of reckoning, post, the realization that there are so many world systems that are corrupt, that were built on the back of Black and Indigenous and really, really marginalized people around the world. Should we be celebrating it? Is it time for something new? There's so many people that feel that way. Others say, nope, leave them. That's England. Let them do what they want to do. I'm Suzette Speaks, you guys. Let me think. Let me see what. Okay, Ebony's asking about Windrush. Great point. Monarchs have been around for 1,000 years. It will survive one way or another. Life goes on. If Jamaica wants to leave the Commonwealth, I support it. I just hope they get rid of the corruption. Thank you, Karine. Yeah. I literally bawled for, listen, girl, I bawled for Diana. I cried. I was like, they killed this woman. I don't know. I thought it was a conspiracy, but I was like, they killed this beautiful soul. Pushing against the grain too hard. Sandy offers, if you look at it, that family is dressed up trouble. Listen, one thing that people I think find, and I was listening to some commentary about it, is that in the United States, we only have a president for 4 years, sometimes 8, right? Before they had term limits, maybe 12, but it was something that we're not used to. We get new people all the time. In England, there is, or excuse me, in the United Kingdom, I should say, there is a difference where you have royals for a lifetime. You watch their ups and downs. You watch their human moments. You watch the times in which they're really, really sadly, exposed. No family is perfect. Every family got drama. So when you watch what happens, and Queen has always said one of her biggest disappointments were the divorces of all her kids got divorced. So you imagine, you're supposed to be the head of the Church of England and the exemplar for how to live life. But guess what? Life is messy. We can't all be perfect and picture perfect all the time. That's not how life goes. So can you imagine? Yeah. Sandy W, I agree. They lived for real what many people in regular life have going on, except in front of the cameras, 100%. Let me see. Doug says, I have no connections with either. I just like Diana because she was American. Okay. Okay. Was Diana American? Am I mistaken about that, Doug? Okay, I didn't know that. Please enlighten me. John Taylor, if he ain't ready by now, he'll never be. 74. Let me go to the Black Twitter because I really was intrigued by some of the commentary. Suzette speaks here. Like them or love them, hate them or want to get rid of them. You're going to segue a little bit more into the monarchy and talking about the system that is being propped up and what it means for people around the world, specifically the Commonwealth nations, and whether or not it should be celebrated and or maintained. It's one of those touchy subjects, as I said, with earnest respect and love and admiration for an extraordinary life, Queen Elizabeth. I think there's something that can be said about looking, through two lenses at the same time, not necessarily seeing everything in the rose-colored glasses, but also saying, God, this woman, this specific individual, extraordinary, but the framework on which she stood has its problems. I think both can be true and can be both acknowledged. But we're gonna see what you guys have to say. John Taylor says, if Charles ain't ready, let me. I think I have a meme about that. They were like, Charles been waiting in the wings for how many years? If he is not ready, it's a wrap. Let me see if I can find some. Yes, this was it. This was Charles. Let me put it full screen. It says, John, 73-year-old man finally gets a job. That was a spoof paper. Finally put to work after this many years. Terrell, they definitely assassinated Princess Diana for her relationship with Dodi Fayed because he had Black ancestry, which they do not want in the monarchy. Funny enough, it's already there, but that's another story. But that's there with not speaking of just the Duchess of Sussex. That even still, okay. There was talk about her being pregnant by Dodi. I remember this. There was so much about that death that I found so tragic. I don't know if I feel the same. I'm sad again at a loss of a life. Yeah, I'm sad at the loss of a life, of a human being, of a family who is mourning. I'm sad at that, 100%. And as an individual, her extraordinary individualized leadership, not political, because she wasn't really very political. She had to be neutral as the queen, but being able to navigate the world she was born into post World War II, during a time where women were not seen as leaders, even though there had been queens before. But when I say it, I mean more so in terms of just like the rooms that she had to kind of sit in and make them her own. I understand that, and I admire that, while still having a loving, lasting marriage. Shout out to Queen Elizabeth. It's not easy. Dedication to country and dedication to family. Now it's not easy. And even Charles says, King Charles III says, his upbringing was very difficult because of how much she committed herself to duty. I could understand that. It's like, again, nothing is perfect. There's some balance, but nothing is perfect. Not even in the royal majesty, the magical land of her being a royal. See what you guys to say. Let me see. Hey, okay, this girl says King Charles will have to find his own way, just like Queen Elizabeth had to find her own way at 26. He's 73, oldest to take the throne. Yes. Hey, Andrew, how are you? Salute to you. Good to see you. Yes. Irish Twitter was not playing no games. I'm gonna bring up a few things from Black Twitter here, because I thought they were very interesting, and just the commentary. And again, I want to show a contrast between, a lot of the, oh my gosh, she was an amazing person. Yes, I agree with those things. But the Black Twitter, Irish Twitter, some of the other cultural groups and countries were like, no way can we celebrate in a style that does not acknowledge also at the same time her journey individually, but the journey that the imperial apparatus has taken other countries on, dismantling economies only for you to go work back in that country. You couldn't make a living in Jamaica when my parents were migrating. They were seeking so-called the better life, but they had the better life in Jamaica prior to, many would argue, the imperialism, colonialization, and exploitation by the crown. So you have mixed feelings among many folks, and it's not to lessen Her Majesty's impact, but to say that there are deeper issues tied to not her the individual, but the role and what she represented. It's kind of very nuanced. Yeah, it's really hard to take on this role. Some breeds, I agree. I agree. It takes courage, and yes, you're always on. You're always on. Then we say what she was working doing. That's what she was working. The outward projection of strength and talking to her people and visiting hospitals and visiting countries, and what do they say, through 250 trips a year, sometimes more. How many she made globally, I think, over her reign, I forget the exact number, but always on the road, always touching, reaching out to, being there for her people. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. Quincy says Irish Twitter had me laughing. Yeah, they were pretty savage. Irish Twitter was not playing. They didn't think it was like a cause for deep sadness. They were like, oh no, we're relieved. Maybe now we'll get back our Queen Elizabeth should have been given the crown jewels back to South Africa. Do you know she owns the largest diamond in the world? I'm gonna put up some facts, guys. Hit the like button as you come in. Yes, I think again, as a soul and her ascension, different from the institution she was a part of and what the institution was the cause of. I think there's two different things. So yes, on a believer side, I hear you, RM. Understanding that if she was sick, if she was in pain, the life 96 is a blessing in and of itself. And the opportunities she had to impact others and what she did with it was really positive on so many levels, on her individual level, right? But there are so many people who also take umbrage and are very, very saddened by the past and present impact of the monarchy and imperialism and what it's done to countries throughout Africa, what it has done to countries throughout the Caribbean, what it has done to India and other countries in the so-called Far East, and why should it be celebrated in terms of the coronation and the continuity of the privilege based on family name alone. The world has changed a lot. What about my family name? Is your family name not great too? Well, I guess not. Right? Happen to be born with that last name. So you're in the right family. So all of this land, all of this title, all of these resources now belong to you. And you get taken care of for the rest of your life. Yes, you show up at charity events and support world, causes and things like this. But there's going to be, I think, a shift among Commonwealth without Her Majesty the Queen, a shift among Commonwealth countries in terms of their loyalty to having the British sovereign as their head of state. I don't know. We got to take a look. Think about Australia. Think about Belize. Think about Jamaica and others doing what Barbados has recently done. It is a time where a lot of people are reflecting in multiple ways, and I openly, will magnify every part of the conversation. You're allowed to say you miss the Queen. You're allowed to say I really, really am heartbroken, and you're allowed to say no. For the history of savagery and pillage, I won't celebrate this. You're allowed to say both, because this is a very difficult subject matter, a death of an individual as well as a perpetuation of a system. Let me see what some of the people on Twitter had to say. This was one tweet. I saw saying if the queen had apologized for slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism and urged the crown to offer reparations for millions of lives taken in her so-called the monarchy's names, then perhaps I would do the human thing and feel bad. This Twitter user says, as a Kenyan, I feel nothing. This theater is absurd. That was one person. Kenyan descent on Twitter talking about that torn sensibility right now for many, right? The tea drinking. I love tea to this day. I drink my tea for almost anything. Pan tea, headache tea. I get that from the British, right? Manners, mannerisms, sayings, school systems, and much more. Forms of government here in the United States. Get the likes up, guys. Hit the like. We're talking about it. Thank you, Karine. I'm glad you're enjoying the conversation, my love. Salute. Kimo Wagwan. Sandy Bisco girl of South Africa, among many nations, to be there, want their things back. Nice to see you, Kimo. She's not my queen, says Kimo. Me not give. Oh, a lot of mercy. The world class. Good to have you here, brother. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Oh, you did? You got to visit the tunnel where Diana died. Wow. Listen, they have a thing where can I don't mean to make light. But Twitter, it's not me, it's Twitter. Go on Twitter. Look up some of the things on Twitter got me laughing in a sad time. Did you guys see this? This is supposedly the queen at the pearly gates telling Diana to open up the pearly gates. It's too soon. It's Twitter is not a real place. At the Twitter is not a real place. Place this up. Talking about this is the queen with Diana saying open up the pearly gates. Guys, I don't make this stuff up. I have been just watching. I'm just like, what a cross section of opinion. You have those who are royalists, hearts broken. The queen shall stand. The king, we are there with you. Queen, our beloved queen is dead, said Daily Express. You have those who are deeply and dutifully heartbroken. Even Bahamas has been saying now, though, not sure if we're going to stay within the Commonwealth as we are currently designed. And I'm going to read a few more opinions because I thought there's a lot going on here. And so there must be mixed feelings. Yes, I love Princess Di too. Interesting. Sandy W says, by the way, if you look at the history of the kings taking the name Charles, all of them, but maybe one was unqualified and terrible at their job. Bad omen. Is that what we're saying? How do you feel? Drop a comment. Enjoying this beautiful Saturday with each and every one of you. Please hit the like button as you come in. Asking, how did you feel or how did you react to the passing of Queen Elizabeth, first and foremost? And I also want to ask, is the monarchy going to survive this in its current state? Do you think it's just business as usual? Money's still going to flow. The Duchy of Cornwall will pass to Prince William, and now he's also going to be known as the Prince of Wales, and Kate now will be, the Princess of Wales, as Diana was known. They will gain incomes from the Duchy of Cornwall. Please look this up as to how they will be paid. The king now, King Charles, officially made king today. Of course, he will have a coronation. We don't know when that'll be. And again, it's a kind of weird thing, guys, because it's happy and it's sad. You have the coronation. You have the life goes on. Keep things together, as he said when he met Prime Minister Truss. We're trying to keep it together when they had that private moment that we caught on tape, right? Their moments are never private. They always have to be on. Stressful, bro. That's a stressful life. Doing and living up to expectation constantly. That's stressful. And then the reality of, wow, they got to bury their mom. They're burying their grandmother. They're burying their great-grandma. That is a sad, for me, scenario, acknowledging that the loss of life is really, really precious. No matter if it's at 9 or 95, 96. Sad. So those things I do want to take into full kind of like consideration, being that I'm going to actually highlights now, trigger warning, some of the backlash on Twitter, some of the ways in which people were not celebrating, right? Her, the person, but more so an attack on the institution side. Why are we celebrating people who literally destroyed millions and millions of lives, hundreds of countries, right? For your greed and for the crown. It's a two-edged sword, guys. How do you feel about the royal family? Tell me. Hit the like button, drop a comment, let me know where you're watching from. Team Replay. Hey, Andrew with the super chat. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate you, brother. Always supporting. I have a funny story I want to tell, but I think I'm going to tell it on my Patreon because it's a little non-PC. I may go straight to Patreon right after this, guys, because it was so funny. It happened to me this week. And I was like, oh, I want to share this story, but I don't think it's appropriate for the internet because the internet is so judgmental and so like sensitive. But even still, you know, life is real and things happen to people all the time that are funny, although non-PC. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. I don't know if I'm going to do it right after this or maybe tomorrow, but on my Patreon, shout out to my Patreon members. Andrew, you are such a wonderful supporter. Day one, brother. Represent from the NYC, New York in the building. Always supporting the stream. But yeah, check me out on patreon.com. Suzette speaks for exclusive content. I show you a little bit of Labor Day, but I have a funny situation that happened to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell somebody. So it might be a quick one, but might just do Patreon right after this. So head over to Patreon for all my Patreon members. Thank you. Thank you so much for all your support, including Andrew, Sunbreeze, all of y'all. Hold me up in this space. Appreciate it. But as we talk about some of this, guys, I'm not going to say this is my sentiment. I'm just pulling a bunch of different stuff I saw on Twitter. I saw on Insta. And I'm like, these people are savage, bro. Some people not feeling the sadness, right? What is your opinion on the royal family? You may feel very different. You said Jamaica doesn't benefit from having a royal as a head of state. Interesting. I think maybe others would agree with you. Excuse me. There's so much to be said about this. Even Prime Minister Andrew Holness was like, maybe it's time, guys. When poor William Gate looked kind of nervous when he was just like, nope, this might be the end of this, right? Very interesting. Choose none 20901 says can't be sad for shorty, but not celebrating the death. Understood that. You're like you're kind of neutral. You're not celebrating. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, Miss Globe Girl said England teeth, the tea drinking from Asia. You're right. Them teeth, everything, even their own culture. Listen, you're right. I think of English. The tea company, the Dutch, was it the Dutch East Indian tea company that went around the Horn of South Africa to India, taking up all the tea and bringing it back. Trust me, there's so much in that imperialism that the story gets very murky. Like it's almost like you're worshiping. I saw a meme, we put it up, that says you don't have to worship your oppressor. And I thought about that and I was like, man, I don't know. Are we doing that? I don't know. It made me I hope I put it in here. Let me put up this set. This was from a social commentator, Lovey. I don't know if you guys know Lovey. I really like her. She had a series of tweets that I was like, sis is preaching. So let me read what Lovey had to say. She's an author. She US commentator. I think she is West African in terms of her family. I can't remember if it's like Sierra Leone, and I don't want to call the wrong country, but let me read what she put out on Twitter and on Insta. She said, the monarchy is an institution that cannot be separated from genocide, cultural destruction, and the theft of diasporic pillaging. Diamonds are forever, including the stolen ones, but those jewels don't keep hearts beating. She adds, the greed, the global gaslighting, the genocide the monarchy has propagated cannot be measured. Queen Elizabeth II was the heavy head that wore the crown in the gilded cage that at its best maintained this dangerous legacy and at its worst deepened its reach by refusing to give other entities their independence even now. Lovey says, I was born in a country that used to be a part of the Commonwealth, a country that just got its independence from Great Britain in 1960, a country that is younger than my mother, a country that was torn apart because of colonialism's chokehold on it, a country that still suffers tremendously today because of England's deep legacy of imperialism. London Bridge, she finally adds, has fallen was the code name for the death had Queen Elizabeth II died in London. Her death makes for more complicated emotions for many, yes, but to many more, it can be argued her death is not to be mourned or even celebrated, but to be noted that even royalty falls. Ouch. What do you guys think about Lovey? Very, very poignant words, deep, heartfelt words. Because there are many that remember. I'm reading about the Kenyan. People say genocide, and even in this past century, not that long ago, within living memory, there are people who are alive who live this. I was looking for this. Here we go. This lady. Let me remove my banner. Fought in the Kenyan War against British rule. Muthini Mantenge. I hope I'm Muthoni Mantenge. I hope I'm saying it right. Was tortured with axes during Kenya's struggle for independence from British colonial rule. As Britain celebrates the platinum jubilee of its monarch, this old fighter wants to send her a message. Let Elizabeth bring me what belongs to me. Y'all ain't ready. There's a lot of mixed feelings, guys. There's a lot of mixed feelings. Beloved queen, yes. But the institution caused a lot of pain for many. Death, destruction, pillage. Another commenter on Twitter says Boots Riley was less eloquent with his disdain for the monarch. The matriarch of the royal family legacy of slave trading, imperialism, colonialism, theft, symbol of opulence, and mascot for the ruling class is dead. The media will now parade the queen zombies in front of you while telling you that overthrowing capitalism is not what we need right now. Strong, like I said, I was really kind of surprised a little bit by some of the sentiments. This was again from Twitter. So in reading some of these guys, what are your opinions? I'm going to drop the link one more time, see if anyone wants to come up. If you are part of a Commonwealth country, if you are now mourning the loss of a queen, if you are living in Britain somewhere and you can tell us about what it's like on the ground, I really would love to know your opinions. Join the conversation. You can hit the link, and when you hit the link, it allows you to come up in the back stage, and we can rap, and you can just talk. Let us know how you feel. There's a lot of people saying don't mix the two, whether the death is important, whether other parts of the stories are important. There are people who didn't even know that she had died. There are folks like this. When Paris Hilton tried to call the queen a girl boss, another clever Twitter user retorted, it was especially girl boss when she oversaw colonialism in Africa. Listen, lots to say on Twitter. I'm just giving you the basics. Twitter, just hashtag Black Twitter, hashtag Irish Twitter. You guys can go look for yourself. The future is quite interesting. We're wondering if the monarchy will survive. Wanting to get your opinion. I've just dropped the link. If you want to join the conversation, come on up. Sandy W says people like her, to the point of trying to minimize institutions like crimes against humanity, are problematic. What happened happened. This is the thing. It was not fully acknowledged, I think, to the extent that it should have been, about what the British government did to so many people as it conquered countries across the world, as it colonized them and took their resources, subjugated its people, killed them. I read about some torture devices that were used in Africa, clipping men's testes and squeezing them to pieces to get people to be subjects. No one talks about it. They say stuff has been burnt. Papers that document what happened have been burnt in the British National archives. Oh, we don't want to remember those things. We're going to pretend those things away. What the heck? And then you have this pure image that's given to you. Oh, this family. They're just a family like everyone else. I'm torn, guys. I'm torn. I'm torn. Parts of me are again sad for the individual loss. Okay, Ebony says in the early 80s, I lived, did you, in Georgetown, Grand Cayman, which is also a British overseas territory, as a child and met her. You did, Queen? Her when she visited in 83, and years later, I even toured Buckingham Palace on one of my visits. I want to go. I do now. I do now. It's very interesting to me again. So many countries globally are tied to the UK and its influence over the years when it was the hegemon, right? The top global power, right? How Queen Elizabeth has tried to hold that space, even though there's been the dismantling of the so called British Empire, how the Commonwealth has taken its place, but is also becoming weaker, or folks are saying, why do we need this? Right? Groundbreaking in some sense. The Queen was the first to visit places like post apartheid, South Africa, China, right? There were things that she did amazing in terms of leadership. Don't get me wrong. There are also, like I said, questions that say, is this a farewell to the monarchy, or should it be? Or is it one that we will, uh, look back and say, wow, this was a pivotal turning point? Is this an event that will change the trajectory of the monarchy? Maybe not even end it, but more so change how it's framed. Even when King Charles III says he wants a slim down monarchy, I'm like, how much people get paid? How much people are on the payroll? It's very interesting. To be a royal, to marry into it, or just to be born into it. We'll never get a chance to be born into it. They've decided that family right there, that's the special family, not yours. Forever. Forever, ever. And ever, ever is an interesting concept, guys, this thing. And when I was watching about, their love story, King Philip, who had recently died during the pandemic, was a part of the Greek royal family, and it was taken from them. People were no more, removed. So it has been done before in other countries. There were kings in almost every European country, right? But there were shifts. People didn't want them. This is a good question. Hey, Snuggles. Miss Girl says, what would you have done if you were born into a monarchy and a throne? Or, excuse me, and thrown into the life of the queen? Yeah, could you handle it? I know, fast typing. I understand the question. It is not to say that she did not have like this thrust upon her. This was not her choice. This was like where she was born into. Do we still need it, is my question. Do we still need it? Let me get into a couple more of the craziness I saw on Twitter, because I want to see, I want you guys to see where some of the sentiment lie as we talk about the queen. Again, being respectful of her passing, there was still so much mixed emotion around it. Let me see. This one was from Ya Asante Waba. Reminder on Twitter, reminder that Queen Elizabeth is not a remnant of colonial times. She was an active participant in colonialism. She actively tried to stop independent movements when countries were trying to break free from the British Empire. And she tried to keep newly independent colonies from leaving the Commonwealth. The evil she did was enough. Whoa, strong words, strong words by that Twitter user. Listen, there's so many more. I want to get your opinion. Final call on the oh my goodness, I see my time is going. Final call on the stream. If you want to come up, come now. Last call to join the conversation. If you have an opinion you'd like to share, please come on through. I am open. Last call, hit that link. It'll throw you in the back of my studio and allow you to come up and talk to the people. But it's a very, like I say, there's this extreme. Ooh, Queen Latifah? No. Oh my gosh, I gotta pay this. I just put it on my stories. What a millennial sounds like when you say the queen is dead. This is an American millennial. I have to play this. This was on my stories today. I know this is so Terrible. But it made me smile. Let me see if I can play it real quick. Sorry. But this was a girl who was, comedian making fun of it.
He's dead. Queen Latifah? No. Beyonce? No. Janet? No. Mary J? No. Lauryn Hill? No. Toni Braxton? No. Diana Ross? No. Tracy Ellis Ross?
That was the spoof. They were like, when they said the Queen is dead, she named all these other people before she got to the Queen of England. Again, one Instagram user found a little humor in a very tough time, but it was listening to some of this and I was like, ouch, people are not feeling this the way I think some segments of society are feeling it. You have some people who have ultimate fidelity, reverence, and love for the monarchy. You have other people that are like, no, we're not going to celebrate this. But I appreciate you, Sandy W., saying that I'm biased. We always try to have uplifting, but yet questioning what is happening here, because it's not to again, me as a non-British citizen, but still kind of descendant of that colonialism. Whether you were born in America, whether you're born in a Commonwealth country, America had its independence early, but they also are descendants. A good swath of the country came from England, right? To have freedom of religion, to have freedom of capitalism, of economics, because many folks left a very hard life in England. Let's just be real. Serfdom was real. Peasantries and people working, the proletariat working class was real. If you didn't have an aristocratic name, you left and tried to start it somewhere else. Let's be real. Some people came with money, others came by virtue of indentured servitude in all kinds of ways. But we still have that strong tie in many ways in our government, our food. Like it's just very interesting. Although independence came much earlier than many other countries. But the imperial nature, the cultural, what should I say? Cultural, the word appropriation doesn't seem strong enough, but the removal of culture, the impact on culture of colorism, of all kinds of stuff. Not to mention the economic destruction of whole entire countries, just makes you wonder again. Loss of an individual is a very sad state, but what does it all mean in terms of the history behind what she represented, right? Not as an individual, but as an institution, and what it means for people around the world. It's going to keep us on our toes as we see the coronation coming up. We're going to see a lot of different opinions. Like I said, thank you for bearing with me, although some of them are a little bit more crass, less sensitive, like her climbing into heaven saying, Diana, open these pearly gates right now. Not everyone's a fan of those type of humor, but again, strong words all over. But here he is, the new king. The new king. Yeah, it's like, okay, somebody said, you know what? I have a lot of other things stressing me out right now. We all have issues going on that are priorities right now. Some people are saying, you know what? Good for the royal family. I am not going to invest my time and my energy on who's up next, who's coming after. Will you guys be watching the funeral? I will. I think they set the date. It's on a Monday. I will. I'm going to watch it. It's a historical event, so I'm definitely going to watch it. And like I said, love it or hate it, the monarchy versus the individual, for the loss of life of the individual, I'm definitely going to watch it. And then I'm going to also still have my own little personal critique, whether it's, what can be done to make this more of a people's monarchy? When they call it the commonwealth, where is the common in the wealth? Where is the common? Where's the common? I don't know. Is it enough for you guys that you guys feel like, yeah, that's what it is? Are you looking forward to the future? Will we see a more full reconciliation between the Duke and Duchess of Sussex now that the Queen is gone? Like, they will be needed, I think. Probably more so. I don't know. Because William, or Prince William and King Charles III were more like, either, sorry, I'm sorry. I hope you can hear me okay. Either you're in or you're out. Either you're in or you're out. So put a one if you can hear me now, RM. Put a one if you can hear me. I hope you can hear me now. But I hope you guys, I hope you guys can hear me now. When my grandmother went to UK, she suffered a lot of racism and she was spit on. Listen, my cousins, the first set that went to England, they did not have an easy time. They had a horrible time actually. Okay, thank you guys. I just want to make sure I'm back. They almost separated themselves from their black side of their family. Like it became like a whole thing. Like just to survive, racial animus was to almost whitewash oneself. It's very difficult for many people that went there. No problem, RM. I thought it was me. No problem. But thank you for letting me know. Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of history, guys. Do your research. Try to see where you fit in terms of this bigger picture. There are a lot of people who are not, it's not sitting well with them. They're torn. Sad for an individual, sad for a life well lived, a public life, person that was, you know, forced into or unexpectedly landed in the lotto of the monarchy as the queen, and the lotto of life, for who her parents were, her uncle's decisions, and her father's untimely passing. And there she was. I respect that so very much. I respect that very, very much. I again also can respect her as an individual and then also look at the flaws and the deep damage that this same institution caused around the world. I can do both. Walk and chew gum. So to want to say one is really disappointed by the terrible legacy that the monarchy has left in many countries is not to say that I don't respect Queen Elizabeth in her passing as a person. Those are two different things. Was it Links? Hey, Links says my father was a part of the Windrush generation. The stories of racism. Listen, my big cousins, my mom's big cousins, the people that were sent to England were fair. That first generation that went, fair skin, light skin. And they were almost like had to like assimilate like crazy, like get rid of their Jamaicanness and try to assimilate as much as possible, as anyone does in any new country, but it's to a different degree. And a lot of racism. I hear you. Yeah, thought we had tails. Yeah, it was rough in England. It's not a joke, because people still think that England is very diverse, but London is very diverse. I think I was reading that only 3% of the British population is of the Black diaspora. It looks like in London it's everybody. No, when you leave London, it's very, very different state. So it's very interesting. A lot of people think, oh, it's UK so diverse. Not really, not really, not really. London is very diverse. But yeah, for those my brothers and sisters watching from other parts of the country, if you're watching Team Replay, please leave your comment and let me know what you think. I'm going to go back. There was some at the very, 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 very beginning that I missed that I was going to open up with. And then I will call it a day and see you guys. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you like the stream. Again, please make sure you like. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and that you support if you can. Appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion again about the monarchy today. But final comments I'll take from the very beginning, because I saw a few that I wanted to read earlier that I didn't get to. There was some anger in this. Side chick one. Yes, the monarchy, says Miss Anne, the monarchy will last as long as the British citizens will want to pay their taxes to support it. True. Queen had no real power. She had influence, but you're saying no legal power. Yeah. Yes, I would love to have seen Diana become the queen consort. That would, I mean, a different writing of life and history. Yeah, a lot of that. Again, thank you to Sunbreeze. Thank you again for sponsoring today's stream and for holding up the channel, bro. Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. And whether or not Jamaica stays, you guys think, last question, if Jamaica's going to stay as a part of the Commonwealth? It's very interesting. I don't know. I have a feeling that we're out. That's what I have a feeling, that another two, what's I say, not even another two prime ministers, maybe even more before that, it might be a wrap for that membership. Hi, Chris. Hello, Christina. Nice to have you. Ah, yes. Links in England at that time during the wind. That's what I'm like. Let me go. Wind rush generation. There were signs on places to live. No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Trust me. It was a really, really, really rough, shall I call it, a transition for many, especially in the early days. I came after World War One, after World War Two, to the British Isles. Yeah, wow. Sunbreeze adds, she was a queen. I have to respect that. I know some things weren't agreeable, but I can learn from her story. Absolutely. It was great to share her story and her history. Yes. I again, as an individual life lived, I admire her a lot. So much pain. Your kids have drama, you lose this loved one, that you try to bounce back. Your grandson want to go to the United States with his mixed race girl and marrying. It's like, wait a minute, look what happened to Diana and Charles. Maybe I should just let him go with who he loves. Imagine that. That takes a lot of courage too. You have all this expectation, weight of protocol, and then you have to say, wait a minute, these are real human beings at the same time. I respect a lot about her. Is it enough? Has it modernized enough? I'm not sure. Is it to the place where you're going to find, the new generation who has never known anything but a queen? They say 80% of the British subjects only knew this queen and only have sang God Save the Queen. So what will it be like for them? I don't know. But was she a symbol of decency, femininity, quiet strength, leadership? It's very interesting. There can be two things going on at the same time. And I feel like that in my heart. Yes, RM, one of my moderators, has a fantastic channel. Check it out. Old School Femininity, a throwback. Please check out. Thank you for dropping that, RM. Final comments, guys. Go ahead and leave them. Yes. So much more I could say about this, but I've enjoyed it. I'm reading it as I'm going. After all, take a jab. Yep. Yeah, it's so funny. After all, they take from Jamaicans. They need a visa to visit. Yeah, Jamaicans can't, British can come to Jamaica, but Jamaicans need a visa to go to England. Yes. I hope you guys. England built stealing other countries. TTO, we got to go back. Watch some of the replay. I've gone over some of that. But yes, her legacy most definitely still lives on. Like or love her, like or not like the institution itself. There will be many that mourn, cry, and see where the next generation takes it. But I want to thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the monarchy, at the death of the beloved queen, gone but not forgotten. Again, for her good, for her individual journey. I am in sad, mourning for the individual death and passing on. Absolutely. But I don't think it's wrong to also take a critical look at where and how the monarchy survives, how it was built first and foremost, but how it survives and the impact it still has around the world. TCO on the way out. Please hit the like, says interesting topic, like button punch. I will see. I think it's next week. Okay, Patreon. I think I'm gonna go real quick on just to share a funny story with you guys right after this. So Patreon, please look out for the link over on my patreon.com/Suzette Speaks. And Wednesday, I have Dear Future Wifey coming to the Suzette Speaks show. If you've never heard of Dear Future Wifey, it's a pretty big channel. And I have a couple more guests before the end of the month. YouTuber Dr. Q Perry is coming on. And I have another interview with EXO Natalie coming up, as well as I think I'm gonna have a lady named Conversations with Nicole. Trying to mix it up, trying to network a little bit and see if I can meet some more cool people here on YouTube to kind of have interesting conversations with. So if you've enjoyed this conversation, consider supporting the stream. Here's the Cash App if you want to show some love. If you're a team replay, you know what to do. The other way that you can support the stream is to like, comment, and share. Don't forget to share. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, hit the like button. Let us know if your team replay. Again, after the stream is done, you can write a comment and let me know what you thought. All right, about the monarchy and Queen Elizabeth II's death in Balmoral, and what it will look like, what the monarchy will look like in the future. All right. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next Saturday. Take care, guys. And then if you're on the YouTube side, next Wednesday, Dear Future Wifey. It's going to be a great show. Can't wait. Anyway, love or no, have a beautiful day. Let the conversation continue. You guys take care. Bye now.